It's embarrassing that somebody is using you for a punching bag. It's embarrassing that you don't have nerve enough to leave. It's embarrassing that you're so afraid. Then where would you go? What would you do? You don't have, at that time I was not Miss Della Reese. I had no profession. I had no money. You know, people don't understand. Say, well, he's beating her. Why doesn't she leave? To go where? To stand in the street?
And particularly if there's concern that he would stalk you, that he would find you.
Listen, if somebody hits you upside your head hard enough, enough times, and they tell you they will kill you, you believe it. Why wouldn't you believe it? The last lick you had almost killed you, you see, so why would you not believe that they would do that?
And as I understand it, from what I've read, your husband was this sort of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde person.
He was a Gemini, absolutely.
And so some of your friends and whatever could not believe.
They did not believe, because when my mother died, there was reason for that. When my mother died, I was free. See, and well, let me go back a little further. The day that my mother had a cerebral hemorrhage, and the day that she had that, I was in choir rehearsal in meditation singers rehearsal, but we were at one of the singers' house who lived at 8 Mile Road, which at that time was a long way. I lived in downtown Detroit. And before I got ready to go, my mother, who did not talk very much, said, I came and sat down at her feet, and she said that the ladies had been talking about me having so many boyfriends. I had 6 or 7 boyfriends. They all knew that they were my boyfriends, and I went out with one here and one there. If they didn't like it, they could quit. I could get somebody else. That was my whole entire attitude. And so she said to me, they're talking about you're fast. I know you're not fast. And are you intending to marry any of these boys? I said, no, ma'am. They take me to movies, and they take me skating, and, you know, and like that. And she says, well, you're a young woman, and there's nothing wrong with you dating young men. I said, but when you take a man to God and you say to God, I'm going to spend my life with this man, you're not only promising that to this man, you're promising that to God, okay? While I was gone, she had a cerebral hemorrhage, and 2 days later she was dead. So the last thing she said to me was to be true to the man that you marry. You see, and every time he'd hit me and I get ready to leave, I would hear her say, you know, and I had heard her say so many times, if a man do this, you get another one, he'll do that. Everybody got some faults, you know what I mean? And all of that would come to my head, and I would say, well, I'll try one more time, you see. And then that day came when I said, this is it. If he gonna kill me, he gonna kill me, but it won't be in here.
And you got your divorce eventually,
yes,
and moved on.
Yes.
The transition that you made into popular music.
Wait.
What?
I just thought about something.
What?
So when I left him, I went to my sister's house. She lived in River Rouge, and she lived in like an attic type apartment, okay? So he followed me, and he was so hurt, and he was so upset, and he was sorry for what he had done, and he was trying to get her to get me to go back, and she thought he was wonderful because he had done so much. She had never had a diamond ring. She had never had a car of her own, and she thought he was wonderful that he gave me all these marvelous gifts. And back to your question about the other people, they all believed him because they all knew I had had 6 or 7 boyfriends, and I was what they call fast or fresh or whatever the name of it was, and so they believed him. So he comes out to my sister's house just to talk to me one more time, and I said, well, he can talk all he want to talk. I'm never going back in that house with him again. And my sister had a couch in front of the window. And the window was open about this much. And my brother-in-law, George, said, well, won't you think about it? I said, no, I won't think about it. because he has told me all these things he's telling you. Every time he hit me, he told me that, and I'm never going back again. So he says, well, if you're not going back, I don't want to live. And he starts toward this window that's open about this much. My brother-in-law was 6'4". My nephew was about 12 years old. He had to be about 5 foot something. And my sister was 6'1", so they grabbed him. And they can't hold him. He gonna jump out this window. He gonna jump out this window no matter what. So they sat him down. And George said, you ought to talk to him. You see the condition the man is in. I said, I don't care what he do. I'm not going back. So he jumps up again. So while they holding him, I walked around and opened up the window. So he lunged, and he saw this window. He lunged for the window, and he saw the window. He said, oh, Lord, I don't know what I'm going to do. I just thought about that. But that's the truth. He did that. He saw the window open, baby. He changed his mind by jumping all together. Oh, my. Oh, I hadn't thought about that for a while.